What's up everyone, nethervvoid here with another Path of Exile video for you. This one is my Chaos Crit Firestorm Witch. This is in standard mode. I have not been playing, I started this character in standard mode, so there's not really, I started this character way before. Actually no, when Talisman was just about to start actually, about a month before Talisman started. But she's pretty awesome, definitely very mobile with whirling blades here, which I like to use on almost all my characters, really, just because it's, I mean, look how fast you can get around with it. I like it. But it also links with Fortify, which I love, which you guys probably already know if you've seen the previous video. So, also she's fairly tanky. She gets hit in the face a lot, so I got a couple things that I can do to get not only hit points back, but with Leech, but also quite a lot of tank because she does get hit in the face a lot. She's not very mobile when she's casting. A lot of that comes from the Blasphemy and the aura that I'm using, Warlord's Mark, as you can see there. So, I'm going to get right into talking about it so I can show you a map run that I did with her, with this character. So, skill gems, let's go back to town here. I just wanted to show you a little bit of gameplay there. You can see I'm getting endurance charges and I'm getting power charges without really doing anything, which is kind of cool. This is kind of a face roll build, which I like. So let's see, with all my power charges up, might as well show you my crit. My crit percentage is 53.16, so that's pretty good. Again, let's get back to town, because I want to show you the tree and things like that. And I don't want to do that out here, because I don't want to die. That's kind of why. So, if we look at skill gems, I'm using Firestorm, which is kind of obvious. I only have a level 17 here, so it's going to get even more powerful. It's pretty powerful right now. I've got a lot of MTX on this character. I like to do that for my build characters. So this character has the Siege Firestorm effect, which is really cool. Linked right up with Concentrated Effect, because 56% more area damage is crazy. More, again, is multiplicative, so it helps your damage a ton. Linked with Spell Echo, that's kind of obvious, because, for one thing, a lot like the Bladefall character, this skill sends down basically fireballs in different area, right? Well, with Spell Echo, you get twice as many fireballs at pretty roughly the same time, and more chances to hit enemies is really why. Power charge on critical, but this is how I'm getting my power charges right now. 48% chance to gain a power charge when I critically strike. I already have like a 40-something% chance to crit before power charges, so getting power charge, 5 or 6 power charges. Right now I think I have 5. Bumps it up to 53% like you saw. So let's look at it now, actually. What is it now? It's only 38%. So it bumps it up quite a lot, 15% or something like that, which is pretty cool when I get to my 5 power charges. I'm thinking about switching that out with something I'll talk about in a second. And right now I have Iron Will, which is 32% increased spell damage. It's not more, it's just increased. And then strength damage bonus applies to spell damage, which I think for every 5 points of strength, it's 1% spell damage, basically, that way. And so that's quite a bit of spell damage. It's like, I want to say 18% right now. That's about 18%. 200 would be 20%? Is that how? No, 100 is 20%. So this is almost 30-something%. So it's a lot of damage with Iron Will. I really think added Chaos damage would be better for that, especially for this build, which I think I have down here. Yeah, but I have a red in this 5-link, and I don't feel like recoloring this 5-link right now. I'll do this later, because I'm actually looking to switch this piece of gear out. So, next we have Arctic Armor. Where is it? Oh yeah. Nope, that's not it. Arctic Armor, where are you? Nope, that's Fire Trap. Where are you? Here it is. Arctic Armor, Warlord's Mark, and Blasphemy. This is to get my Warlord's Mark as a curse, and Blasphemy puts the curse out as an aura. It's 35% mana reservation for Blasphemy there, so that's kind of cool. Warlord's Mark does a couple things for me. It gets endurance charges up, but really why I'm using it is I get life leech with it, and this character, since she gets hit in the face so much, really kind of relies on that life leech to kind of keep her going without using so many flasks all the time. So the next up, this is a pretty common thing for me: Whirling Blades, Fortify, Summon Chaos Golem, and Faster Attacks. It's kind of a Whirling Blades, Fortify, and Faster Attacks is pretty awesome. It also adds to my tank. The Whirling Blades does. Let's see if I can show it to you here. Adds, basically gives me 20% damage reduction, so you can see right there I have 20% damage reduction for all the damage types. Again, that helps take hits to the face, because this character, again, can't really move around when she's casting, so... and for some reason Firestorm takes a long time to cast, so having the ability to take off 20% of all incoming damage is kind of a big deal. So, again, I use that a lot just because Whirling Blades is awesome, and I can move around really quickly with it. It's one of the best mobility skills in my opinion, and also being able to link it up with Fortify is just a huge bonus in my opinion. So that's that set of links. I also have Enduring Cry linked up with nothing right now. It's eventually going to be linked up with increased duration, but right now I also have in my shield there Vitality, which is another one of the auras I'm using, which grants me 1.3% life regen per second, which is really ES regen, which you'll see in a second why that is. But it's actually going to be an aura that I will not be running in the future. I'm only going to be running 2 auras in the future. That's the plan for this build. But right now I can run 3 because I haven't switched out my final piece of gear, which again we'll talk about in a second. And then lastly, for single target, I have Fire Trap. Really just helps against bosses. I don't really... It doesn't help a lot because Firestorm by itself is pretty good for single target, the way I have it set up. But I got Fire Trap. I have Fire Trap right now linked with concentrated effect for more area damage and added chaos damage. So it's doing okay. It's sitting at 77,000 average damage per trap pop, which is alright. Again, I have an empty link there too, which I could probably put like Iron Will in there or something. I just haven't messed with it because I haven't needed it too much. And this character is definitely in flux right now. Just kind of trying to get all her gear together and stuff, and then I can refocus on getting those skill gems all worked out. So gear, again, I want to talk about all the things I need to show you, and then I can show you some actual footage here. Gear, I just have a lot of armor and ES type gear, so you can see armor, energy, shield gear here, armor, energy, shield. This is obviously just resist here. Armor, energy, shield, armor, energy, shield. This is actually an energy shield belt with an energy shield mod, so that's kind of cool. I just got this Lionized Remorse off of a map run. Literally the last map run I did, so I'll probably be using this because it has the increased chance to block, so I have a 30% chance to block, which is really good, again, since I'm taking shots to the face so often. And then, what else do I have here? Uniques to talk about. I'll probably be keeping this Lionized Remorse, because I'm going to be switching this chest piece out with an Infernal Darkness. That's because of 25% fire conversion. It also has 100%.
Good day to you, Exile.
100% increased critical, and it has +1 to fire nut gems. So I'll be putting the Firestorm in here. It'll get +1. That's gonna be pretty awesome. And then that goes with Consuming Dark. This is definitely a 100% chaos damage build. This converts 75%, or the other 75% of my fire damage to chaos. Not a lot else here except my chaos damage can poison as well, so we're getting poison as a link, a free link in here in Sense also, which is pretty cool. But I think it's, yeah, poisons enemies, so I think it's every time. So that kind of adds an extra link to this, which is kind of cool. So that's pretty much my gear. I am running this necklace right here mainly for the dexterity, because this build needs a lot of dex to run. I think the dex, really though, is from... I can't remember what it's from. I think it's Arctic Armor. No, that's not very high dex requirement. That isn't either. Maybe it's Whirling Blades. Even that's not too bad. 84. It's faster attacks. Because if you look, like I have 122 dex, and I think it's pretty much just faster attacks that's doing it. So if you look, 108 dex, don't need any dex there, don't need any dex. Yeah, I might actually be, if you want to drop some of your dex, because right now I actually have a dex node, a 30 dex node I took, plus this double dex amulet, and I think that's it for dexterity, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to get enough dex to run that faster attacks. The nice thing about it is the whirl is a lot faster that way, so it's kind of a necessary thing. But that's pretty much my gear right now. I do have also Voidbringer. This is an optional piece of gear, but it's 128% increased critical strike for my spells, and then a lot of energy shield. You can see 200 here, and then 20% energy shield gained on kill, which is really cool. That kind of helps me regen my mana basically. 80% increased mana cost of skills, so that kind of offsets it. Doesn't really help, But I'm running ES for mana, so I have plenty. You know, I'm not worried about it. Really, why I put this on is for the increased critical. And also, I get a lot of energy shield out of this, which really helps also because I'm not just using it for mana, but it's also part of my tank, which we'll talk about in a second. So that's pretty much gear. There's also these flasks. I have 3 life flasks with removed curses, bleeding, and freeze and chill. I like bubbling for the prefixes on these because it gets me a nice 50% hit of instant recovery of 600 life, and then I get the other 600 over 1.7 seconds, which is pretty awesome. This one I just have increased recovery speed, which is a huge flask for me. I use it when I really want to gain a lot of life and I'm not in a really dire situation. And I have this granite flask of iron skin, which I use these all the time. Really pumps up my my armor. You can see I don't have a lot of armor. This character's not big on armor, but when I pop this flask, you know, I have 61% estimated physical damage reduction, 10,000 armor, 11,000 armor, so pretty awesome. And then I'm running at Series Promise. A lot of this is because of the leech and also just for some extra power when I want to take down a boss. But that leech actually helps a lot because then I'm getting 4% leech, really, because I'm getting 2% from Warlord's Mark and 2% from the flask. Since all my damage is chaos, all of it is up for leech, right? So pretty awesome. Also because this character doesn't have any chaos resistance, if you notice right here. Actually, I think I do because it's supposed to be negative 60, right? Yeah, I do a little bit on the tree. So let's talk about the tree. Oh no, wait. Total gear cost for this is about 4x. It's not too bad once it's all said and done. That's for a 5-link Infernal Mantle. You don't really need a 6-link, but when you go for a 6-link, I think the cost is going to shoot up there quite a bit. So just get a 5-link, you'll be okay. If you want a 6-link, that's going to cost you, but that's fine. But so back to the Chaos Resist, I am getting 16%, or I'm sorry, 20% from this wheel here, which is pretty awesome. And then I get 35% from the flask, and I'm good to go for a while. I do need to, oh man, I need to quality that, don't I? This character also has, I buy all these MTX when they go on sale. So when I see them on sale, I buy them. So she's got the Fire Town portal here. She's got the Infernal set. She's got the Infernal footprints, which you can kind of see. The Arctic armor kind of doesn't help there. A lot of fire stuff in here. So why don't we go in here and fix that flask up? I can't believe I haven't done this yet. I just bought this the other day. This was, I don't know, a few chaos. I think it was like 10 chaos. It wasn't much at all. So there we go. Now it's at 20%. These are all should be 20% now, yeah. I think before this I was using a run speed flask, but with Whirling Blades I don't need it anymore. So that's pretty much the gear. Let's look at the tree really fast. I think the best starting character for this is the Witch because there's a lot of great crit nodes around the Witch, as well as some area damage in here, and this these ES nodes. And then you get access to more power charges. I am going to be picking up the 3 power charges here, so I will have 6. I could get 7 if I got one off of the final bandits, but I chose to go with an endurance charge. So I think 6 is enough. I'd rather have the extra 4% physical damage reduction. So I really think Witch is the best. She has access to a lot of fire nodes as well, which I think I will be getting all these fire nodes in here. These fire nodes are accessible, which they would have been anyway, even from Shadow. And then you can pick up some fire nodes down here if you start out with Marauder. I don't really think that's a great idea, or if you started out with Templar again, but it's going to be really hard to get all this shadow damage over here and some more crit nodes over here. So that's why I think Witch is the best for this. I think Witch just does really well with if you're going for an elemental damage type of spell damage type of character. So let's see what is notable to talk about. I already talked about Witch. The damage, what I'm doing for damage is mainly crit, fire, and area damage. Mostly crit and fire, so you can see I'm picking up a lot of crit nodes in here, great crit nodes over here, some crit nodes there. I think those are all the crit nodes. Obviously power charges are for crit. That's pretty much it for crit. And then for fire damage, I'm picking up this fire wheel, I'm picking up this fire wheel right here, I picked up this fire wheel, which also got me some crit. You can see 30% right there. And I think that is it for fire. Pretty sure. Yeah, that's all I'm going to be getting for fire damage, for fire crit. I'm sorry, for fire nodes. I did get this one as well. Pretty awesome right there. Area damage, I picked up 2 area damage wheels, not the whole thing. The area damage is okay, but really what I wanted is the 5% increased radius, because that also increases the radius of my aura. So my Blasphemy Warlord's Mark aura actually gets 20%. If you look, here's 5, 5, 5, and 5. That adds 20% to that radius of the aura. So that's pretty awesome. I might be picking up Hexmaster for another 20%, but I don't think I'm going to need it. It's really for when people get in my face, right, and to give me endurance charges. And I'm also have Enduring Cry in case I don't have enough endurance charges. So I really just use it as a life leech thing. I don't need to hit everybody with it. So that's kind of, I probably won't get that. If I got anything, I'd probably get Whispers of Doom for another curse. That would be a good utility thing to get, but I'm really not sure about that yet. So for defenses, obviously life and ES nodes are what I'm picking up. You can see I've got the life and ES wheel over here. I've got the life nodes here, obviously life nodes here, and then I've got that life wheel, life nodes here and here. And then also I'm going to be picking up these life nodes with this dex. The dex is going to be very important. As you can also see, I have a couple of areas where I can pick up some life right now. I'm pretty low on life, and I'll probably be picking up those next. I was going to spend these 2 points here to get the dex and then work on these life nodes so I can get this kind of big one right there, 6 and 8, and pick up that dex to kind of alleviate my issues with dex. Maybe work myself out of this alacrity node right here for an extra node. For armor, I'm really not picking up a lot of armor. I don't pick up any armor really on this build. I'm really picking up energy shield, and if it happens to have armor like these nodes here, I'll get it. That's going to help out a lot for this build, I think, because remember, energy shield, I'm using it for mana because I'm doing the Mind Over Matter, Zealot's Oath, and Eldritch Battery combo, which, man, you can't get away from that. Like, I've tried to not use that, and it's really tough because it's so awesome. Not only does it help you with your mana issues, which this build is crazy on mana. If you look at with the Voidbringer, it's 91 per cast, and with Spell Echo, I'm casting it again, right? So the cast cost goes up is pretty substantial. So having ES as my mana really helps a lot. So if we just sit here and cast it in here, actually, no, the Echo doesn't make me cast again, does it? Or it's just like a free cast. But look, it's going down pretty fast. But also I can use Enduring Cry with to get that 338 life regen per second. Will go over to ES and give me a nice boost during battle, so I don't have to run a mana flask. And also any life regen I pick up on the build, which I have some here. I forgot to talk about these nodes here, but I have 1.8% life regen. I don't think I pick up any more than that, and I found it's okay. Like, there are times when my ES is getting pretty low, and I need to get out of there because I don't have any mana, and it's going to be even worse when Infernal Mantle goes on, because Infernal Mantle, I have to have low mana. If I'm on low mana, then I take an extra 100% damage from spells. So I never need to be on low mana. And this ES, using ES as mana really helps because I never use my mana. So I can reserve 64% and be fine. Again, as long as I have ES, because once I get hit and don't have any ES anymore, I'm going to start taking damage into mana, and that is going to make me have 100% more damage from spells. So I have to really be careful and get out of there and kind of regenerate my ES. Let's talk about the rest of the tree. We already talked about the utility a little bit. I'm also getting these endurance nodes right here to bring me up to 5 endurance node charges. That's 20% reduced physical damage, flat reduction, and also increased charge duration. I'm getting a lot of increased charge duration just from picking up these other nodes, or these other power charges here as well, which is pretty awesome. I might actually pick up a little bit more because I want to keep my charges up all the time. I think it's very, very important. So let's talk about charges. How am I generating them? Power charges I'm generating currently off the power charge on critical. I might be picking up, I'm thinking about getting a Monkey Paw Talisman from the Talisman League, where you can get one that you have a 10% chance on kill to gain a power charge. I think that will be enough to get my charges up, and that's why I said with additional, well, actually this would be a good thing to get. I'm probably going to pick that up. 4% increased spell damage per power charge since I have 5. That's 20% more. But I really need these duration nodes because I'm only going to be getting a 10% power charge on kill, right? That's really a pretty low percent, and so I'm going to want to keep those charges up. Right now I generate charges like it's going out of style, you saw, but I'm thinking about switching that out because then I can switch this. I can basically add add another support gem to my Firestorm and make it even rock more face. So if I switch that out, I'll definitely be putting the added chaos damage in there. For a 6th link, though, I don't know what I'll be adding to that after that, because I haven't really given it that much thought. I'm not faster casting. I'm not really sure what I'll be adding. I'll put that in the actual build guide. This is just an update. I wanted to talk to you about this character. So we already talked about mana. I'm using Eldritch Battery, Mom, and Zealot's Oath for my mana. Don't really need Zealot's Oath, but it does help with a life regen. Applies to Energy Shield. It does help, especially for Enduring Cry. Gives you a nice boost in the middle of battle. So now we can show you. Hopefully, I might have already been showing you those map runs. Probably would be a good idea, because a lot of time I just talk, and it's just kind of boring staring at the tree or something like that. But let's talk about the defense of this build. What I'm doing for defense, obviously, just like my other Bladestorm build. The Bladestorm build and this Firestorm build are very similar, because I was thinking at the same time of these same mechanics. I was already building that into my Firestorm build, and then I did a lot of extra stuff with my Bladestorm build. Came back to the Firestorm build and kind of swapped out a lot of things to get it to run a lot like the Bladestorm build, because it was so strong. The tank is so strong with the way this thing's built. But it's definitely a layered, active tank. We've got the Energy Shield, a thing I already talked about a million times, the EV Mom and Zealot's Oath for tanking. Takes 30% of the final damage off of E-Shield instead of my life, which really helps a lot. You can see that this character is just really tanky. Not as tanky as my Bladefall build, but very, very tanky nonetheless. I actually don't have Fortify enough on this build, because right away when I see the mobs, I'm already casting Firestorm on them, which I should be probably kicking in that Fortify a little bit more often, but this is on standard, so I'm not as worried about dying. I haven't died in a long time on this character, but I'm still not as worried, because it doesn't really matter, right? I also have 5 endurance charges. That's 20% more, less to physical damage. I'm sorry, 20% less physical damage. I have a Chaos Golem. That's 4% less chaos damage. I think that's what this dude's doing. Where is he anyway? He's right here. It's additional physical damage reduction, which is kind of interesting. Basically, this stuff just adds up with your armor to tell what kind of physical mitigation you have. Endurance charges, Chaos Golem, and armor all stack up together. Fortify is on a different layer of the tank than those other 3. So I've also had the Warlord's Mark that helps with the Life Leech. It's a really tanky, nice tanky aura. Arctic Armor, which also reduces my physical damage and also the fire damage that I take. I also have Castman Damage Taken, which we didn't really talk about in gems. I don't know why. Increased Duration, Immortal Call, and Molten Shell. This adds a lot more physical damage reduction as well. So that's really cool. Oh, one thing I forgot to talk about is my rings. I have a rare prismatic ring, 10% to all elemental resist, and I got a lucky roll, 15% to all elementals resist, so this has a 25% all. It also has 18 to cold. It's an alright ring. I'll be probably switching it out. I just have another resistance ring on the other hand, in which I added a 23 to maximum energy shield mastercraft onto it, which is kind of cool. So that is the defense, pretty active defense, which pretty much what I'm using on all my characters now, because armor is pointless and I don't like evasion. I know there's entropy, the entropy model that's set up so you can't really take a bunch of hits to the face, but I don't know. I'm gonna try it, but really I want to avoid those huge spiky hits, and having that massive amount of physical reduction up at all times, I think is a better approach than just luck, right? So I don't know. I don't want to get one shot. This is standard, so getting one shot wouldn't matter that much, but still, I don't know. I just like my characters not to die. I like to try to build a character that just won't die, even if I'm in standard. So for bandits, I went Oak for the 40 life, Kill All for Cruel for the 1 extra passive point, and Oak again for the 1 extra endurance charge. I just think it's better than the power charge. I already have 6 power charges. I don't need 7. I just felt like the endurance charge was a little bit of a better option. For auras, right now I have Arctic Armor, Warlords through Blasphemy, and then Vitality, which I will be turning Vitality off once I put their Infernal Mantle on, so that I can have 64% mana or less reserve, right? So that I don't go into low mana state and take the extra 100%. damage from spells. Golem, we already talked about. I have a Chaos Golem. Reflect is not going to be a big deal because I'm going to have 100% Chaos damage, so there is not going to be any Reflect. Currently, I only have 75% converted, so that's already a lot, so I don't have to worry really that much right now. The thing is, I'm waiting to get the 5-link Infernal Mantle, which is 1.5, approximately 1.5x in Standard right now. The Consuming Dark is 1x, that was pretty easy to get. I don't know how much Voidbringer is. It's some certain, like 20 Chaos or something like that, and I think a Lion Knight is more same things, like 20 Chaos or less or something like that. It's pretty cheap. But yeah, I don't have to worry about Reflect, so that's kind of neat. But as you can see through the video, the map runs I'm showing you, the playstyle is pretty fun. It's a melee caster, kind of get in your face caster, which I kind of like. Could benefit from more monster stun probably, just because they're getting so close and in her face, which actually Warlord's Mark does help with that. Increases the chance to stun mobs. Let's see, 27% reduced stun recovery, and also an extra 14% chance to be stunned. So that's again why Warlord's Mark is a really good curse for this build, because when the mobs get close to you and they're trying to punch you in the face, they get stunned. So that's the higher chance to get stunned. That's pretty awesome. Pretty mobile. Well, I mean, very mobile with the Whirling Blades, and pretty tanky. Not as tanky as my Bladefall build, which I'm really used to how tanky that build is. But it's a pretty face roll build as well. I don't have to cast a lot of things. I don't have to get Fortify up. I don't have to cast Enduring Cry. I kind of just walk in and blow everything up. It's kind of cool. Things don't die as fast as I would like them to, but really what I'm doing though, once I convert everything to Chaos damage, I'm going to get a lot more damage because all my fire nodes that I pick up are going to count double. They count 25, they count as a percentage of increased damage when you have fire damage. Then when everything gets converted over, it counts again for the Chaos damage. Basically, it counts double. Whenever you convert damage, your increased nodes count again if they affect the thing that you're converting to, right? So you want to get that. You want to get all your nodes on the first damage you're doing. So since Firestorm is fire, I want most of my increased damage nodes to be fire, right? If I pick up Chaos nodes, increased Chaos damage nodes, they will not affect fire, and so they won't double dip like that. They're only going to affect after the conversion. So if you pick up the fire nodes, they will count before the conversion and after the conversion, which is pretty cool. They basically double dip like that. So that's why the area damage is not as great to pick up, because it doesn't get that double dip effect. I really just picked it up for the extra increased area effect. So so that's pretty much how this build works. It's a pretty awesome little build. Firestorm did get a buff. That's why I really wanted to go back to it. This character started as a Firestorm character. I've loved Firestorm ever since Diablo 2. Which I can't, it was called Meteor back then, or Meteor Storm or something like that. I really loved that skill back then. I had a character that used it. So I kind of recreated that character is basically what I did. Also, so even with the buff though, it's still not very powerful. I converted this character to an Incinerate character last patch, or before, when Incinerate was really awesome. And now Incinerate sucks, so I went back to Firestorm because I got a buff. I was really excited actually about that, and it's doing okay. I can do tier 5 and 6 maps without much difficulty. Pretty good maps with clear speed. But once I get the Infernal Mantle, I think it's gonna kick this thing into high gear. I also have a lot of fire nodes to still pick up, a lot of damage nodes to pick up. So this build is gonna be going off the charts. You could really easily pull off a CI with this build. I know a buddy who did it, and he said it's really tanky. With the Infernal Mantle already being a great piece, and Voidbringer with great ES on it, you could really switch out the Lion's Eye Remorse for an ES shield and just be rocking a major ES and go CI. It would be pretty cool. Plus, you wouldn't have to pick up any life regen or any. You'd probably have to pick up a lot more ES nodes and not do so much life, but that's the way it is. Witch has access to a lot of great ES nodes from the very beginning there, so that would be a really great way to go as well. I might do that like in the future just for fun, switch this character over to CI just to see what happens and how it works, because I want to do a CI build. I've been saying that for a while. So I will be doing a final build guide with this character, but I'm still working on my build guide. Slowly. It's really awesome so far. It's in a Google spreadsheet that does a lot of calculations and stuff, and that's what I really wanted to do. I want a build template so I can punch a bunch of stuff in and kind of see what the end game character will look like. and see if the character's viable or not, or how viable that character would be. What kind of layered defense would I have at endgame? What kind of DPS would I be looking at? All those kind of things, so I can make a determination without playing the whole character to see if it would be a good idea or not. So anyway, let me know what you think about this build. I think it's a lot of fun. Firestorm is definitely fun now. It was kind of gimped before. It's still kind of a gimpy build. It's definitely not, you know, super in the meta right now, I don't think. But it's still pretty fun. Things blow up pretty easily. Once I've 100% converted to Chaos, it's really going to shine, and I get those, you know, 5 or 6 fire nodes that I still don't even have yet. It's going to really rock face. So, again, let me know what you think in the comment section, and like, favorite, and subscribe, and all those things. And as always, everyone, stay frosty.